This video tutorial will guide you through the approval process on StafftraXS. After logging in, you will have noticed the menu bar on the left-hand side of the screen. This menu bar will be your tool to navigate through the website in order to find the correct views and reports. For the purpose of this video, we will be looking at the timesheets dropdown, which contains the summary and detail views. Let's begin with the summary view. Left-clicking on the summary view will load the employee time data. Near the top of the screen, you will notice the date range selection. These dates automatically are set to the week prior that we are currently in. By clicking on the date field, you will notice a small calendar view appears where you can select any date in the past you desire. Using the from and to date, you can select one day, an entire week, or even up to months at a time. Generally, our recommendation is that after every day of work, you log on to StafftraXS to quickly approve yesterday's hours so that they do not build up at the end of the week. For the purposes of this tutorial, however, I will select the 20th through the 23rd and left-click Submit. This will then load all the punch clock data for the 20th through the 23rd. Now that we have the necessary information loaded, we can see the contract professionals and 4 columns showing the status of hours worked: approved, rejected, pending, and a total hours column for each individual. Generally, hours will only be showing in the pending and approved columns, but if you have recently rejected any hours, then they will appear as rejected. We will talk in more detail about rejecting hours in a second. So, for the current date range that I have filtered the data to, we see there are 3 employees whom have worked each with varying amounts of pending hours. If for this date range you agree that the amount of pending hours is correct, on the left-hand side of the screen you can left-click the Approve button in order to approve those hours. If the total pending hours on the screen look correct for everyone, you can also left-click the Approve All button at the top of the screen to approve everything. However, let's imagine that for some reason Judith's total hours do not look correct. You're going to want to go to the Views column and click on the small box to the right in order to display the detail view for this employee. Now displayed on your screen is the detail for the date range selected. The detail view displays a bevy of information such as activity, department, punch times, and hours with the total hours for each day. If the hours for the day look correct in the status column, click on the pending status button and select approved. If there is a problem with the time slot, reject the status and a rejection box will occupy the screen. This will show you the same information that you were rejecting, prompt you to write a reason for rejection, and then submit the rejection by pressing the reject button. The status field will then show you rejected. Once a field has been approved or rejected, you will still be able to change the status of that field in case any mistakes were made. However, once the time slots have been approved and processed, the status will no longer be editable. A useful tip for completing payroll is, instead of approving each time slot one by one, go through the time slots looking at anything that may need to be rejected, rejecting those time slots first, and then clicking the Approve All button at the top of the screen. Any time slots that have the rejected status will stay rejected, and the rest of the pending time slots will be approved. The next view for approving hours is the detail view. By clicking the detail view on the left-hand side of the screen, you will be prompted to select which contract professionals you would like to see. I recommend you select all contract professionals, but you are welcome to select certain individuals if you would prefer. By clicking the Select button, the data for the time worked will load. This is going to look exactly the same as the detail view in the summary view, but it will be completely expanded for every employee that you have selected. The screen again has the date range selection and different options to filter the data, such as employee, activity, department, and status. The status buttons underneath each employee work exactly the same as on the summary view. Once all hours have been approved, exclusive staffing can then gather the information and invoice you for the hours worked.